Let's go.
Welcome to the Soul Fam podcast, where we expand your personal universe. I'm Diana Marquetta, and in each episode, Soul Fam co-founder, co-creator Lexi Strummer-Solden and I interview the world's most rising and longtime experts in consciousness, spirituality, entertainment, healing, and science. From Earth's dimensions and dimensions way, way beyond. On the Soul Fam podcast, our frequencies are high and your heart chakras will open as these powerful voices of today share cutting-edge research, profound experiences, and valuable knowledge for your world in this out-of-this-world, thought-provoking, envelope-pushing interviews that could only take place right here on the Soul Fam podcast. Welcome to the Soul Fam podcast. On today's episode, we are blessed with the presence of Jessica Rosalie, the Rainbow Goddess. Jessica is a longtime friend of Lexi's and mine. We interviewed she and her husband, Richard, early in the podcast about their work as starseeds and with starseeds. Jessica's transformation has been phenomenal in the last few years, and she has moved into her own sort of existence in helping to raise the feminine and to raise the divine feminine. She has begun her own entrepreneurship with the Garden of Eden, as well as continuing to work with Richard and some very sacred natives from Peru. Jessica, we're so super excited to have you here. We were scheduled a couple of weeks ago and some things happened. Jessica just came back from an adventure to Mount Shasta, which we're super excited to hear about and look forward to really diving into what you're up to these days and how we can really help raise the divine feminine.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Diana. I'm so happy to be here. It feels really good, and to really just be utilizing the voice and really expressing and allowing for the divine feminine to speak and share and really amplify the loving frequencies of the mother consciousness, which is what I feel the divine feminine really represents. And it's so needed right now. It's so healing. It's so nourishing to the soul. And I feel the collective consciousness really needs that mothering, nurturing, supportive, divine feminine, loving energy right now, because it is what allows us to feel safe and to help us heal. So I'm so grateful to be here.
So that's super interesting that you talk about the divine feminine in the sense that it allows us to feel safe. So can you go into that a little bit further? I know some of us sort of suffer a little bit from mother issues, or we deal with mother issues in general along our path. So I'm super curious about that.
Yeah. So my relationship with the divine feminine, the mother consciousness, has really developed and strengthened through my connection to the planet. And so that is really how I have developed and cultivated the divine love and flow of mother and the safety and security. And that really is connected to our connection to Mother Earth. And that safety, that feeling of safety, comes from being really rooted and grounded and connected to her. Because our body consciousness was birthed from the planet Earth. So we have this connection just by being here, being embodied. Through the earth body and our physical body, we're connected to the mother consciousness and the mother planet. And so as we deepen that relationship with her, and as we really ground in and root in and allow for our divine light to really anchor into our physical body and into the planet and bringing up the earth energies, that mother consciousness allows for us to feel held and safe by her. And so that's directly connected to our 3 lower chakras. And so that is like the root chakra. And so when we feel safe in our bodies, when we feel safe to be here, and we feel safe in the world, that is directly connected to our root chakra and our connection to her and to, planet Earth.
So have you done a lot of work in your root chakra area? Is this something that's personal for you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to share on this. So 4 years ago, I had a Kundalini awakening that was like an influx of energy, a higher dimensional energy frequencies moving into my body. And I actually, I couldn't hold the amount of energy that was moving through me, and it disconnected me a lot from my lower chakras. So that's when I felt a lot of influx of energies, a lot of frequencies, but I felt very ungrounded. And so we all go through sort of this phase on the journey where we're integrating the higher dimensional frequencies. And so during that phase was kind of my galactivation, so to speak. I was really connecting a lot with the higher realms and the galactic frequencies to help bring them in. But my physical body couldn't really support because of the density. So I felt really unsafe to be like in my body. And this happens to a lot of light workers and starseeds, where we don't feel safe to be here. We don't want to be here. We want to go home, and we just can't function in the world. And that's directly because we're not able to fully bring our consciousness into our lower chakras. And that's when we really start to feel like aliens, because we just like, I don't belong here. I don't know why I'm here. And so part of the embodiment process is bringing more of your soul light and energy into the root. And from that relationship with the planet and that healing and clearing of density in the lower chakras, we become more embodied and feel more safe to be in this world and to walk the planet and also carry out our missions and our purpose here. Because if we get too high up, we can't manifest anything in the physical realm. If we get too high up in the frequencies, we're not able to actually interact with the third dimension anymore. And that happens. People actually just start to leave their bodies, and we're supposed to be embodied. And so part of my journey here was recognizing, and this is actually what happened to me. I was meditating in the forest, and I had this tree behind me, and I was just meditating with this tree, and I was communicating with it like its spirit. And the tree was like, Rosalie, you're not in your body. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not in my body? You're like, Rosalie, you're not in your 3 lower chakras. Like, you need to ground your energy in. And so the tree was helping me root, was helping me bring my energy more into my body, which was very uncomfortable for me because it felt so heavy and so dense. And I realized that was when I needed to actually really focus on grounding and really focus on being in the physical world, because I had become so disconnected from it.
I understand that completely. I myself have probably experienced that a lot without even understanding what it is. So frankly, I know a few people that are feeling like I'm here, but I'm not here.
Yeah.
And certainly if you're on your spiritual path, there's this, I can only really speak for myself. Everybody has their own journey. But I know that rooting for me is super important. And I literally have to live in a space that has a lot of nature. Otherwise, I'm sort of out in the ether.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that part of the reason you created the Garden of Eden?
Yeah. So the Garden of Eden, this actually came through, it's been coming in actually over the last like couple of years. Every time that I would connect into my internal world, my heart world, this like inner temple within myself, when I would go into meditation, it would always be this like beautiful garden, was always the metaphor of divine love. Because when I'm surrounded by beauty and I'm surrounded by the colors and the smells, it just reminds me of this place that feels like heaven. To me, like this is like a heavenly realm, a paradise. And I've always connected to this garden, and so many people have spoken about this garden or going to a garden or feeling just immense love. And so when I was asked to write a chapter in this book, Oracle, this transmission came through, and it was from this garden of divine love. And everything in that garden was pure love. Like the flowers were like vibrating at the frequency of love, and the trees and everything there was just, if you can imagine, emanating the love frequency, the love vibration, like it was vibrating that. And so everything was just emanating this beauty of God. And so when I brought through this transmission and I asked who this chapter was for, I saw mothers, and I saw like mothers and their children, and I saw them like depleted, exhausted, tired, over like work, just completely on empty because of the way the structure of our world is. There's just not enough support and nourishment for mothers and for the divine feminine, for the family unit in itself. This is men too. And so I was seeing them in my mind's eye. I was seeing them, and they were doing their best, and they were trying to give as much as they could to their families and their children, but they were just struggling inside, like wilted, like flowers wilted. And so brought me to tears because I could see them all just, wanting to give to their families and their children, but it was like they were running on empty. And so I started writing this chapter called The Garden of Eden to uplift and bring them to this space within them, to be transported to this energetic realm of pure source love, of replenishment, rejuvenation. Like imagine like a paradise with like waterfalls and the sun, and just like, taking a vacation where you could just refill your cup and replenish your life force. And you could go there and you could just, receive like unlimited supply of like energy and life force and just love, and just fill up your cup. And then, when you came out of that space, you were able to give back to your family, to your children, to your creativity, to your passions. And so this Garden of Eden space came through to support that, to help empower, men and women to feel nourished, supported, held, and able to, refill and replenish themselves so that they can, really do and give what they came here to do. And so that's how the Garden of Eden birthed, was through that chapter, which then, as I was nearing publication of the book, I received from Spirit very clearly that this needed to be an energetic space, that I was to hold as the channel, as the conduit to bring the transmissions through from this space, which is actually, and for me, it feels like a real place, a real energetic place that I can connect into, where I can transmit the frequencies of divine love, pure love, source frequency through me and into my meditations, into, anything that is guided to be brought through. And it's an entire library of resources to support people. They're having a long day. They just go into the Garden of Eden. They listen to, a 30-minute meditation, refill their cup, and then they come back into their life.
So I want to go back to a little bit of this Kundalini experience that you had, with where you felt extremely separated from your lower three chakras, and sort of the commonality of that, because so many people are going through their awakenings right now and they don't know what they're experiencing. And I understand that came through a meditation for you, but were there other things that were showing up in your daily life that showed you were disconnected? And I don't mean this on a mental level at all. I mean on a spiritual level, because I myself have experienced it. So I understand exactly what you mean. But could you kind of share exactly how that looks in the physical so that people can recognize it?
Yeah. So for me, it felt like I felt so disconnected. Like I felt that in my body whenever I would tune into this energy. Like it felt like grief. It felt like sadness. It felt like I would have this bubbling up energy of like, it's so hard to be here. Like I don't feel safe. And I just found like I was struggling. Like I just kept struggling and struggling. It was like my soul was communicating with me that I needed to connect. And so when you feel disconnected, that it can be, you can feel confused. You can feel confusion. You can feel fogginess. You can feel fearful, a lot of fear when you're not really grounded into your body. Because the physical body, without the connection of the spirit, it feels like it's like dying. It's like, where are you? Like, you need to be in your body because this is our agreement. And so if you become too disconnected, you start to feel really fearful. And that fear can start to be received from the mind. And the mind actually starts to create all of these stories of like why I'm not safe here, what's out to get me, and starts projecting all of these like thoughts of not being safe because it's the body that doesn't feel comfortable with the way that you are not fully embodied in it. So the body doesn't feel safe. So then your mind doesn't feel safe, and it starts to disconnect you from love, from connection, from the planet, from being able to just find joy in the everyday. It's like eventually nothing really brings you joy anymore. Like, you don't really care much about the world. You don't really care. You like almost become like apathetic. Like, I don't really care what's going on in the world. I don't really want to do anything. It doesn't matter. Like, you just don't want to be here. And that's what happens, is like you just want to be in the higher realms all the time. And then you just start thinking about escapism, often using a spirituality as a form of escapism, of a way to like disconnect and just be out of your body in the ethers, because it feels more comfortable. And there's like avoidance and coping mechanisms that develop where we don't want to actually feel the density. So we just, and that could look like many things, like just going to festivals all the time and just, being like in La La Land, where like you're just like in this like huge denial of like your purpose here with the planet and what your mission is on the earth. And so it can look like many things depending on the person. Eventually things start in the physical world start to like collapse, like, financially, especially, because if you're not physically able to generate or manifest something in the world because you're not connected to it, then there's no form of connection to the planet. So how are you generating like abundance and financial prosperity? Because that's directly connected to the root chakra. So you just start to feel like, everything's falling apart. Everything is like starting to like disconnect you from the planet Earth itself. And that can be a very terrifying thing, because it can make you feel like you just don't want to be alive anymore. Like, actually, like you can feel, suicidal or depressed eventually.
Exactly. I mean, and for whatever it's worth, you sort of have to go through this process though to become a little more connected to your higher self. I mean, it seems like perhaps you don't have to. Perhaps if we were a little bit more supportive of this process and there was a little more love in general, it wouldn't feel like this. But it feels as though this is kind of part of the process. You become disconnected. It feels like, and it shows up like my whole world on the physical is completely changing. And then you sort of reconnect and realign, perhaps. And then it's sort of a whole new world. Absolutely. I mean, perhaps, I don't know, somebody else tell me what their experience has been, but that sort of feels like it crumbles and then it comes back together.
Yeah. I think we all mostly follow the same path. It seems everyone that I've spoken with, we've all gone through these phases where we come back to Earth. And I call this phase the feeling of falling off my unicorn.
Why do you call it that?
Because you go through that phase where you feel so like high on the energies and everything is happy. You're not even tapping into the density anymore. So you don't even realize it. Like, nothing bothers you. And you're literally, it's like on this like ethereal high, and you're just sunshine and rainbows, and it just feels like amazing. And then you start to hear the calling to come back and ground into your body. And then when that happens, it literally feels like source just like flicked you off your like magical unicorn, and you just come like falling to the earth. And it feels like you just like hit your like butt real hard on the earth, and then all the emotions, all the everything comes up, and it's like ugly crying. That's what it was for me.
That's what happened today.
Ugly
That's
crying.
what happened today.
Hello? Yeah, me too.
No.
Laying on the floor crying.
I literally got bucked off my unicorn, and it's sort of being humbled. It's like, oh, you think you got this? Let's make you really sweaty, and you're going to have to deal with it. Just, you're humbled off your unicorn, back to Earth. Enjoy.
Yep.
And then
that's it.
then you have just all your books everywhere and all your metaphysical things. And then you're like, well, now I'm too much in 3D Earth again. So what do I do? Where do you go from there?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a good question. Where do we go from here? I mean, I sort of feel like I'm coming around full circle again. I mean, I've certainly been bucked off the unicorn and stamped and thrown in the dirt. That's not a pity party. That's just been my experience, and it was of my own doing, and it's all for a greater purpose. So, but where do we go from here? I mean, when you're at that stage, where do you go from there?
Yeah, for me, I feel it's coming back to the planet, really, really developing that mindful connection with the earth, sitting on the ground, like every day, just feeling connected to her, inviting the earth energy up, asking for Divine Mother, Gaia, Earth to support you, to surround you, to be with you, calling in the spirits of the trees, like our relations, the rock people, the tree people, the earth tribes, the earth energy. You need to invite more of the earth element into your body, because we need to allow for the earth energy to move up our feet into our body, as well as connecting into source and having that bridge in our heart. So we need both, heaven and earth. And that is the unifier, right? So that is the polarity integration, because we can be one way too much connected to the planet, where we're just cut off from our higher connection, where we're not really connecting into the higher realms and frequencies, right? It can be either way, where people have no connection or don't feel connected to, the higher frequencies, the higher chakras, so it's like, how do we bring both into balance? And this is what I call the middle path, because the one path, the physical world, is all about physical money,
right.
Attainment of things, buying that big house, buying in 2 cars, that's like the physical world. And then the other part is just like kind of being in la la land, where you're so up in the higher dimensionals that you're not even here. So the middle path is really, how do we bring both together? How do we allow for both energies to come and merge and be in the body, and allow for you to feel connected to the higher realms while connected to the earth? And so what that looks like and feels like when you connect with the earth frequencies is you're a lot more grounded. It helps to regulate your nervous system, so you're not in this like fight or flight all the time, so that you're able to connect to the breath, and you're able to slow down, you're able to pause, the mind isn't racing. Regulating that to the planet really helps you to feel at ease, at peace, safe, supported, held. And then just working on really allowing that grounded energy to hold you. And, it may look different for every person. For myself and Richard, we went to the Sierra Nevada mountain range in Colombia, and we hosted 2 retreats there, where we spent a week at a time on the mountain, completely disconnected from technology, like radio signals, everything. And we stayed with the tribe, and we healed our bodies so that we could come back into the planet. And so Mother Earth was helping us heal and really connect into the body consciousness. And we ate organic food that was grown from the earth, free of like pesticides. We sat with a fire, we connected with the water, we learned from the elder tribes, the women and the men, and that really helped us come back into our bodies, because it was working with the earth energy.
Beautiful. It sounds like a lot too.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was incredibly life-changing.
So, go ahead, Lexi.
Oh, I was just going to say, what were the names of the, and I hear your cat. Is that your cat, Jessica?
Yeah, I am so sorry. My Navi, she's no.
I got my
feeling the energy.
Come on.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. We've had cats on before. On this.
Lexi rescues cats, so we have regular cats.
And usually when they come on and get some love and attention, then they kind of calm down.
Navi, come here.
Come here.
She might have a name. She might have a message.
Yeah, she totally does. She's a vocal kitty. She wants to be on the podcast.
That's
Please. Right. We love cats here. that's another way we ground is through animals that we come in contact with. And it's interesting because even though you may not need a big backyard or have the means to travel to another country, you just may have a couple plants on your porch. But if you, this is just my personal philosophy. What I tell myself is if you can, feed some birds or a squirrel or put some water out when it's really hot out for whatever animals happen to come by, that's something. That's an offering to nature. The getting kicked off your unicorn thing really resonates. And at first I was very excited for all this Gemini energy lately because that really speeds up communication. But I am starting to feel the weirdness of the energy that I think a lot of others have been feeling. And it's definitely, it's not easy. For me, I can see not really having an orientation, like, which is it today? Am I that spiritual person or am I that earth person? And what I was going to ask is the name, if you are able to share the name of the people, the culture, the indigenous people that you guys work with. We'd just love to know more about them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we worked with the 4 tribes of the Sierra Nevada mountain range in Colombia. And the 4 tribes are the Kogi, the Arawaco, the Kwankamo, and the Wiwa. And so these 4 tribes, they basically went up the mountain to hold the memory alive of humanity, of who we are and how we worked with the planet and how we're connected to her. And so they've just been holding such a beautiful divine support for humanity because the mountain in Colombia, they say, is like the heart of the world. They call it the heart of the world. They call it the heart chakra. And so they've been working to really hold the frequency of divine love and support and also healing for Mother Earth. So the tribes, in particular, the elders, which are called the Mamos. The Mamos are actually these really incredible celestial beings. They are chosen at birth to hold their role for the planet. And they actually do a lot of work with the planetary energies. So they're like celestial earth guardians, and they actually they do offerings, and they know how to work with the earth energies to stop the climate changes, like they can help offer payments to stop like the volcanoes and the disasters, like the world disasters, because there's an imbalance. And so they actually have been traveling, and we've been supporting them with their mission and traveling to different locations in the planet now because it's become disconnected. They've no longer been able to connect and sense other parts of the world because it's being cut off. Just because of the way that we're treating the planet, the way that we're extracting and taking her resources, it's creating a lot of disharmony in the physical planet itself. And so the Mamos, they help to bring balance. And, I'm so blessed to have been able to, meet them and connect with them because they're really such a crucial component of helping to bring healing to the physical earth itself and helping to bring balance so we actually have a home to live here. They're really beautiful.
How did you guys connect with them? How did you connect, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so this was actually really beautiful. Richard and I, we were wanting to connect more with our roots and the tribal blueprint because we remember being a part of communities and the tribal like energy, where they say like it takes a village to raise a family. Like we all remember being a part of some form of tribe or community where we all were working together for the common good. And so we were wanting to heal the tribal blueprint because we all feel so separated in our little houses right now. No one's connected, and just everything that's happened, it's created such separation. So we started calling in, like, how can we heal the tribal blueprint? Like, somebody has to have the healed tribal blueprint. And then that day we got invited through a friend to sit on a call with the Mamos and the Kogi. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, these are the people we've heard about that have been living up in the mountains and praying upon the ancient altars and holding the ancient wisdom like alive on the planet. Like, these are the people, like, they're untouched from religion, from like society conditioning. They've just been, doing their thing up in the mountains. And so we jumped on a call and we received like the energy transmission. They don't speak English. They speak their native dialect, but you could feel it. Like you could feel it in your heart. They would speak and your conscious mind had no idea. It was like light language. We're like, what are they saying? But it feels like so good in my heart. Like my heart was exploding and you could just feel the love and the remembrance. And so we got to sit on a Zoom call with these people because like someone actually connected with this tribe and got them internet just like down the mountain. They'd have to come down to actually start bringing their messages out to us because they were like, nobody's coming to see us. We need to make this connection with them. Yeah. So it just kind of like came in divine synchronicity.
So what exactly is their message for the planet and the humanity?
Their message is love and respect for our mother and really coming back into harmony and balance with her and restoring that relationship and bringing divine order, bringing order back to our thoughts and back to our connection and relationship with the planet and remembering like our roots really and remembering the womb of creation, like the darkness, remembering how that is the origins. Like, so part of their message, like the mamos, when they're chosen at birth to become a mamos, they actually go into a cave for the first so many years of their life to get to know themselves before they get to know the external world. So the mamos spend time in darkness, which is the womb space. And they get to know themselves and they get to know who they are before they even like get to know the world or the sun. So they know it from within first because we kind of have it backwards. Like we come into the world and we see the external and then we try to figure out who we are. But they actually connect in with the darkness, with the womb space, with the mother consciousness in the cave for the first 7 years of their life, I believe. There's actually a documentary called Aluna on YouTube where they speak about their culture and what they're here and what they represent.
I'm sorry, Jessica, Aluna?
Aluna, like moon.
Aluna?
Yeah, Aluna. And so their message really is about coming back into harmony and balance with the self first. Because how are we going to change the world if we don't even know who we are and what matters to us, and if we don't even remember our mother and who she is, and if we don't respect women as well, then we don't respect mother, because in their culture, women represent the divine mother. And also the water consciousness is also the mother. And so when we don't respect our water and we pollute it, because water is very sacred to them, when we pollute our water, we're disrespecting the feminine, we're disrespecting the mother. And so water to them is really sacred and really pure, and they take care of the water, and they they're in harmony and right relationship with nature.
Fascinating. We've had a few discussions about sort of climate change recently and kind of where the planet's at, and then really that comes down to us taking care of ourselves first. Is that correct? I mean, in a proper way.
Healing our relationship with our body is, to me, the microcosmic representation of healing our relationship with the earth body. It's connected. There is a connection there. And so how we treat ourselves, how we nourish ourselves, how we respect ourselves, and that's self-love. And so through self-love, we can, extend that to another and actually care about how we treat the planet, how we treat ourselves. That's, it's the law of one, because there's no separation. We understand that how we treat another is like a representation of how we treat ourselves, and the same with the planet.
So do you feel like, because, if I'm understanding this correctly, a return to ourselves and self-love and respect for ourselves also creates a sort of respect and love for for Mother Earth, for the planet in general.
Yeah, I feel it does. I really do, because, there's just so much emotions around um, shame and guilt and low self-confidence, a lot of those kinds of things that are connected into our sacral, our emotional body. A lot of that needs to, be seen and looked at, and really, a lot of people have so many emotional disturbances or just feelings of low self-worth and low self-confidence. And that's why those coping mechanisms of addictive patterns come through, through shopping and consumerism and needing to feel good about myself, so I'm going to buy a new outfit. All of that is to do with the self, why we do those things, why we consume. It's to do with the lack of within ourselves. So if we can address the lack within ourselves, then we no longer feel the need to externally consume things from that space of lack, trying to fill that void.
There are probably some people who aren't doing enough for themselves. Well, many of us in this country, in the United States especially, are over consuming and buying. There may be some people who are almost self-flagellating. They're depriving themselves of, basic human upgrades, because either I'm spiritual and I don't need all that, or like you said, feelings of deservingness. So just my example that relates to mother, the word mother in general, would be wearing the same loose-fitting, torn maternity pants for 2 years after giving birth, because it's it was a good deal. I paid a lot for them. That's wasting if I just throw them away. And you know what?
Yeah.
At some point, it's okay, enough. Actually get some pants that fit you right. So I think it does all come back to balance. And maybe some people need to freshen up their place a little more. It just depends on who you are and what you're dealing with, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's true. It's self-worth. And that self-worth is such a huge piece of the healing journey. And I feel that really happens when we come into our body. When we're really grounded, it can feel really heavy. And, I just wanted to speak on that, because I feel when you said a lot of people are struggling, they are. And it's because we're feeling everything. We're feeling. And feeling is healing. We have to be able to process and feel our emotions. And that can be a very challenging thing. And it can look different for every person. But actually, looking at the shadow, or looking at the emotions or the density that's in our physical body or our experiences, it's not for the faint of heart. And you have to really want to heal. And you have to really want to release and let go of the past, of the pain, of the trauma, to be able to, really feel that sense of deep wholeness and forgiveness again in your experience.
Yes, and that can be a deep and painful and, exhilarating journey at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know we're getting a little close to running out of time, and I actually have to dash to something. Would you be open to doing some light language and maybe a tarot reading for us this morning? I know that's something that you do on the Garden of Eden, and I feel like our audience would really resonate with that. I know you have a lot of guidance to give, so I was, or perhaps, Jessica, you have guides that would like to come through and give us some guidance. Perhaps that's a better thing to do, better thing to say. But would you want to do that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm feeling a lot of the tree energy here. I'm a tree communicator. I work with the spirit of the trees.
Oh.
Yeah, so they work with me. I see them like walking trees. They have when I went to Colombia, the elders would show you the roots that kind of grow up out of the ground. Have you ever seen that, where the trees actually start their roots lift up out of the ground, and it looks kind of like the feet And so ever since I saw them, the elders called them the walking trees. I've seen them come out of the ground like etherically, and I've got these like walking trees, tree guardians that have come with me and in the spirit realm. And so I called them in before our call today, and I feel them with me. And I feel like a lot of our viewers would really resonate with just the tree energy and just connecting, because it is rooting, it's grounding, right? The trees are so great at deepening their roots into the earth and then growing so tall, right? They reach up to the heavens. Like they're the representation of you can fly high, but if you can go as high as you want, but if your roots aren't grounded enough, you're going to fall over. So the tree medicine is really coming in, and I feel like our viewers would really connect with, calling in the tree spirits and working with the local trees in where they're living, because that medicine can really help them connect to their bodies and feel like the tree. And I actually will sometimes visualize myself becoming a tree. Like I will just sit on the earth and I will just connect into the tree energy, and I'll feel like I'm growing roots, and I'm also extending up to the sun for like sustenance. And so the oracle deck that I actually brought is the Sacred Forest Oracle. And so I'd love to bring in some of the medicine of the elements in the tree kingdom.
Lexi's a tree person. I'm a tree person. I live among the trees. So.
Awesome. Did you have an intention that you wanted for our viewers? A message that wanted to come in particular, or?
I just would say, what do the tree guides and spirits want to tell us? I mean, I'm a tree person. I'm always the person at my kids' school pickup who is standing against a tree, sitting by the tree, taking my shoes off, being with the tree, telling everyone else to touch the tree. So I love trees, and it's just interesting because you were recommending everybody sort of getting in touch with the trees where they live. And a big part of that is obviously knowing whose land you're on, right? Or whose land we're currently occupying, or that we're living on. And so for me, in my part of LA, it's Gabrielino Tongva, and I believe, Diana, you're on Shumash land. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And so whatever messages might be of support and hope, and just a little bit of, advice on how to get through the day, I think that would be really beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love that. Okay, so I'm just going to connect to the deck and connect to my heart, and let us all just come together in this space and just feel your tree guardians with you. And call them in, the trees that are connected to the land where you're living, and just feel the loving presence. You can visualize them surrounding you. And I often like to call upon the trees for strength, especially when I'm going through something really challenging. I just call upon the strength of the trees. They're incredibly powerful beings with such immense love, and we've forgotten them, and we've forgotten that connection and relationship to them. And so a lot of the trees have sort of gone to sleep. Like as we've forgotten about them, they just sort of begin to come dormant. And so it's actually consciousness that we're interacting with, and when we as consciousness connect with the consciousness of something else, we help it grow and evolve too, just like your animals. When you interact with the consciousness of animals, it helps them evolve and grow too. And that's our connection. It's all living light. We're all here evolving and growing. Everything is alive. And so that, the trees are saying, they're just communicating with us that it's not silly to connect with a tree. And at first, it may feel like a little silly because it's not something that has been taught in our culture. We have been taught that it's just a thing. It's not alive. But in reference to Pocahontas, which is one of my favorite movies, the earth is not just a dead thing. that we walk upon. Everything has spirit, has life force, has energy in it. And as we connect to the life consciousness and living light stream in everything, we feel this interconnectedness to it. We feel more spirit. We feel more alive. And so does it, because we're interacting with it. And so, as we're connecting in, just feel all of the beautiful living animals, the spirit of the animals, your animal totems, the forest, the trees, the elementals, the rocks. Feel them all around you and feel how safe they feel just to connect with their presence, as they've actually been holding space for us all these years. When humanity turned against itself, and when we decided to go through, the dark aeon, when we chose the path of separation, the animals and the trees, they made a promise that they'd be here to support us, that they would help us come back to ourselves, to remember. And so our message is to remember them, to open to them, that they are here to support you, to help you, to guide you, to love you, and they want you to really feel that connection to them. So now I'm going to pull a card, although I feel the message is already coming through. I don't even know.
No, that was
super strong.
Oh, man.
I'm like, why am I even pulling a card?
The trees came through.
It just came in so strongly.
That's awesome.
And that's how it works too. Like the cards are just a tool or a bridge, right, and they help people to connect more into the wisdom. But there's just such powerful energy coming through this for all the viewers that it's right there.
Good. That's great. Must be really tuning in to our audience as well. Our audience must be very open and attuned to all of
it's very potent. Spirit, when they know we're going to reach a lot of people, the energy is always amped up because it knows that it can be of service in that way. And so when we show up in service and spirit knows like, hey, you're going to connect with a lot of people, the energies are always potent.
So beautiful.
All the tree people.
The tree people, the rock people, everyone's here. The room's full.
The dirt people.
Everyone. You know what? Feelings aren't so bad around you, Jessica. At first I was like, oh, who has time for feelings? They're just horrible. But you know what? While you were doing your intro or channeling that first message, I was crying, and I don't like that usually. But it was a very big release for me, and I felt very safe and not silly. And just thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, it's the heart medicine. And that good cry. I love those good cries, it just, you feel so much better. So the card that I pulled was Eagle Spirit. And there's actually number 13 on the card, which 13 represents the Divine Mother. And the card says freedom. And there's actually like a little beautiful Pegasus at the bottom corner of this card, and also with wings. And so for me, like what this card is representing is seeing from the bird's eye view, seeing the higher perspective. So the mountain energy has been coming in a lot because I've been speaking about the Sierra Nevadas and Shasta. And so part of the mountain energy is seeing from the top of the mountain, seeing the higher perspective. And sometimes we do need to literally, come to a higher vantage point to be able to see the entire picture of what is really unfolding here. Because when we're looking at something from the base of the mountain, we can't really see the full picture, understand the purpose of anything. So when we actually, come up into the bird's eye view, the higher perspective, or like I like to say, the higher self, the observer, we're able to see all of the intricacies of everything that's at play and everything that's unfolding. And we're able to really understand how everything connects, how everything fits into one. And even in the darkness serves the light, because at the end, even no matter how deep you go into the fear or the separation, it will always bring you back to the light. So there really is an interconnection between all things. It's not separate. It's not this versus that. It's not dark versus light. It's not good versus bad. Everything works in harmony and unison to serve the whole. And a lot of people forget that. They start choosing sides and they start thinking that it's this way or that way, but everything actually works together because it's all interconnected. because it's all source. It's all part of the grand orchestration of this experience that we're all having. And so this eagle energy, that eagle medicine is coming in, and maybe some of you have an eagle totem to help you see the higher perspective, the higher vantage point, and the medicine that is really wanting to come through in your life, or why things are unfolding and why things happen that way. And we've all experienced that, where, something happened to us and, we're just on our knees asking, like, God, why? Why is this happening to me? Like, why is this so painful? Why is this so hard? Like, what did I do to deserve this? That energy of just feeling like completely and utterly like at a loss for like why this is happening. And so this energy of seeing from the higher perspective, the higher self, really helps us to shift out of this feeling of just being small and powerless and like a victim to our circumstances, and help us to see the divine plan, the divine will, the divine orchestration, that it all serves the whole. It all brings us back into the alignment that we need to be in. It helps us to come back to ourselves. Whatever is happening in your life, whatever circumstances, situations, whatever you're feeling or experiencing, it is the stepping stone to helping you become who you were meant to be. This is the journey. This is the journey of the soul. This is the journey up the mountain. There are many paths up the mountain. There are many different paths that we can take, but ultimately we will all go up that mountain and we will all experience that moment and that realization of looking back at our life and understanding why it played out the way that it did, and all of the beautiful lessons and experiences we gained that really served the soul. Because sometimes the mind will tell us, this is bad, this is wrong, this is not good, I'm not good enough, and we'll tell you all the stories. The stories actually don't matter. The stories are just the thoughts that we've had before, or the collective unconsciousness of humanity, of all the stories that we've told ourselves. But the actual real reason why we're here is to experience the growth and the expansion of our soul, and to remember who we are as divine beings. We are the divine remembering itself. And so every day when you look at yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror, it's like, I am the divine remembering myself. And so I can have love and compassion for all of the parts of me that feel less than that feel, unworthy or shameful or feel not good enough. We can look at those parts and we can love what arises, because you are the divine remembering itself. You are not those things, but you are the divinity, the awareness behind them. And so there is so much love, is what I'm hearing. There's so much love here for us, like immense amount of love. But we actually have to see ourselves as love, to really see ourselves as not separate from it, that it's not something we need to chase or find. It's actually already within you. It's already there. And through the higher perspective, we can see that we are already whole, we are already perfect, we are already divine, because that's what we are at our core, at our center. It's our essence, it's our God spark. And everything else is just a filter. And if you can imagine yourself at your core, your pure essence, then the mental body is like a ring or a filter. And then the emotional body is another ring or a filter. Your conditioning, your programming, what society has taught you to believe, those are all lenses. And then your essence has to pass through all those lenses. And then that's why you feel like, why do I know that I'm loved, but then I don't feel that way? It's because of all the filters. And if we could just release the filters and peel back the layers, then you'll realize that you're none of that those were just lenses that have been placed upon you, that you're already divine perfection.
Do you have a moment to do some light language to close this out?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jessica.
So just taking a moment to ground into your body, as light language sometimes can be really high frequency and a little destabilizing. So it's really important that we ground. So just visualizing a grounding cord of light being sent from your higher self. This beautiful grounding cord of light coming down your spine, past your tailbone, and rooting into the earth, into the crystalline core of Mother Gaia. And we ask your healing teams, your guides, those who are here to love and support you, aligned to the laws of love, laws of one, to be with you now and to help repair any grounding cords that need support with grounding and repairing. And we just ask for Mother Gaia to send her loving energy up from the planet, and her love from the heart of Mother Earth is being sent up your grounding cord. Maria, just feeling that grounding energy moving up your cord into your root. So Mother Earth is supporting the root chakra and being infused with the purity of divine unconditional love. And anything that is less than love, you can send down the grounding cord. And as energy that has been created cannot be destroyed, it can only be reused for something greater, that is alchemy. So any energy, frequencies, code structures, emotions, blockages within the root, we just send down the grounding cord to be reused for the highest and greatest good of all. And just feeling that root chakra flowering, blossoming, connecting with the ruby ray, feeling that pulsation, that opening. It is safe to be in the body. It is safe to be here. You are loved. And all of the beautiful tree family, the grandmothers, the ancient grandmothers are here surrounding you and holding you. Taking a deep breath. There's a lot of love coming in from our ancestors, beautiful wise women and men who've come before us, the earth tribes, and they're just bringing in this space, they're encircling us in so much love. And your ancient wise elder selves are also here, placing their hands upon your shoulders, and they are pushing you, they're grounding you back into your body. Like they're gently, very lovingly placing their hands on your shoulders. And as they do, just feel your spirit beginning to ground and root. When they're singing to you, they're singing for your heart to heal, for you to remember the truth of who you are. Malia shukulia matarasha, nia nadora, laru mayana maki anna teasutora. Beloved child of the earth, you are loved. Malia notaria shaki siki liamura anna. We are here supporting you always. Malia notaria shaki liamura anna kiana is your guardians. Liamura te amu. There's like some heart energy coming through. Normally I sing, but it just cuts out on the mic. So unfortunately I can't right now, but it's like very beautiful heart energy. They're like singing to you like a lullaby. Like think of the most like beautiful grandmother, like indigenous grandmother. And she's like, just like holding you. And I see like some of you are just like crying on her bosom. And she's like, it's okay. Like they're like rocking you. It's so sweet. They've got their like rattles out. Namasi, go of what you've been carrying. Release anything that is not yours to carry. Many of you are carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders that you have placed upon yourself as if you are here to save or fix. And this is not the case. Release the weight that you've been carrying. It just started to pour rain here. Feel the cleansing energy of the waters of purification, the rain beginning to come down, releasing, letting go, letting go. Breathing in all the way into your root, all the way down into the earth. Maliatora, remember your connection to the earth. Remember your reason for coming here. In your body, just feel that deepening, that beautiful relationship between you and mother and child, as we are all children of the same earth. Malia shoku mayana tiki ashukaya ma'ana ilia dora. Larukaya ma'ana iti ashuku ziyama. That is the earth energy which will unite us all, as this is our common purpose for being here at this time, no matter who we are, no matter what we believe, no matter what we think. All of us are children of the earth. Malia Dora, Malia Noki, children of the sun, Maliano Darasha Karasha Kiliamutua, children of the great central sun. Malia Dora Makaya, as we must find what unites us. Mariano Darieshiki Sikiti Kianu, we must release the beliefs that keep us separate. Malia Dora Ashakara, and find that it is our mother that has called us here, that has called you here. This planet, Mother Earth, is why you are here. Maria Shoku Tariyamaki, as she called out to you, divine beloveds. Maria, awaken the ancient wisdom, the ancient codes, Maria no Tariyashikiliamura, that have been forgotten for eons. It is important that you are here, studied in your physicality, as this is why you came, this is why you chose a body. Maliadora, this is your contract or agreement with the planet. You are meant to be here. Maliadora riashukumukura, laru, and your wisdom is needed, your love, you as your present incarnation, not as some other identity, not as your past self or your future self, but you as who you are. Your birth name is needed. Maliato, this is the greatest gift, to remember how loved you are, how beautiful you are, how important you are, how needed your love is. Your medicine is important. Malianu kayana ana ishkaliano dora maliano mashkaliano shuku maliano tariana isikitikianura. Feel yourself being wrapped and held in a cocoon of divine love as Mother wraps around you and holds you. She blankets you and supports you. You are safe. You are held. You are enough, just as you are now. As love doesn't need you to change. Love doesn't need you to be different. Love doesn't need you to be anything but as you are. And just as you look at your newborn baby or a beautiful baby as divine perfection, you wouldn't change anything about them, as they are perfect as they are. That is how the earth sees you. That is how Source sees you. Now it's time for you to see yourself as that beautiful, divine, perfect existence that you are. And just taking a deep breath. I am loved. I am enough. I am the divine remembering itself. I am the beauty of God within and throughout every aspect of my being. I am whole. I'm healed. I'm enough. Just thanking the wise grandmothers and elders, Mother Earth, the tree people, the elementals, your guides and support teams, all who supported in this healing and transmission today. We love you, we honor you, and we hold you in our hearts. We hold you in the heart of God, Mother Earth. We are one. Thank you. And so it is.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Soul Fam podcast. Be sure to tune in to every episode where we dive into a different rabbit hole of the known and unknown to empower you in conscious living and exploration of the greater universe. We hope you leave each episode with a little stardust in your hair and inspiration in your heart, with love from your Soul Fam. Word for our sponsors, Oweli Supplements and CBD Pure, both whom have generously offered to give you 15% off using the SoulFam podcast coupon code SoulFam, SOULFAM, and free shipping. And trust me, when you're ordering stuff like this, it actually really adds up. You can save quite a bit of money, several dollars for every order. Both Lexi and I have worked with these products and their companies, and we have firsthand experience, and we really like these companies, sincerely. Oweli, Oweli,
Soulfam.com is a supplement company that uses natural ingredients based on ancient knowledge coupled with modern science, which sounds a lot like the Soulfam podcast. I am a huge supplement person. I take multiple supplements each day. The quality of Oweli supplements is high and effective, in my opinion. I take Move for joint health because I work out almost every day. I do yoga, I walk, I hike, I ride horses. And secondly, I mix collagen, peptides, hydrolyzed protein for a protein shake every day so I can be sure to get the right amount of protein in my body every day. And for women, I personally feel that's super important. CBD Pure, www.cbdpure.com, is made with non-GMO hemp grown without herbicides, pesticides, and other dangerous chemicals. Both Lexi and I feel like this is a stellar product. I use the CBD Pure 500 cream for pain in my neck from texting and working at a computer and a car accident I was in. Lexi uses CBD Pure Pet Health to help some of her posse of rescued cats who show up at her doorstep. They often have joint issues and other movement issues, and this product really seems to help Lexi's cats. Both products work superbly. No harmful side effects, at least from our experience. So once again, we thank our sponsors, CBD Pure and Oweli Supplements. We'll post links to both product lines on our Instagrams on my link tree and on YouTube and on our upcoming website, Patreon. Just remember the code for 15% off with free shipping, which once again adds up to a lot, is SOULFAM, SOULFAM. That's SOULFAM for our SOULFAM.